Hi, I'm Kelly Bingaman, and I'm from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. I've had multiple corruption things done against me, all because of a supposedly simple divorce. One of my situations is I had multiple situations in which my minor 15-year-old son would call me to be picked up while he was with my estranged husband. When I would arrive to pick him up, my husband would have the police there. There's also no PFA or other order preventing me from contacting him. When the police would arrive, they would tell me not to listen. They would not listen to my side of the story. The police would persistently threaten to arrest me when I had done nothing illegal. We have no such thing as restraining order in Pennsylvania. One day I was at the credit union paying my mortgage. My estranged husband showed up as I was down at the counter unexpectedly and followed me out of the bank. We were talking peacefully. I had my golden retriever dog out in my van. This was a dog trained as a rehab dog to assist me because I'm totally and physically disabled. I told him he could not have it. He tried to enter my van, and I tried to get away from him. He threw my cell phone, my glasses, and my keys. He pushed me around, continually trying to get into my van. He ended up calling the police, and I screamed in the background for an ambulance. 2 to 3 squad cars showed up. I told them my side of the story. The ambulance never showed, and I kept inquiring where my ambulance was. When I realized that they had canceled my ambulance, I advised the police that I would take myself to the hospital, but was told I had to sit and wait. No police talked to any available witnesses, nor did they go into the bank. I was placed under arrest for assault. I asked the police that my husband also be charged with assault, and I was falsely told that 2 people could not be charged with an assault. When we went into a divorce, at that time, I realized my civil rights were violated, and I found this attorney named Don Bailey, who did everything humanly possible to assist me. But of course, his case was thrown out. He couldn't have fought any harder for me, as if he was my best friend. Eventually, we went into a divorce master. Prior to the hearing, the master spent a couple minutes literally yelling at me, calling me names, telling me I'm a troublemaker, and I have no respect for the law. My case was before the Superior Court at this time, and there were absolutely no records for this hearing. The master told me that since I had wasted the court's time, we would have to take a lunch break. I gave my testimony, and then we broke for lunch. Upon my return from lunch, my lawyer was standing in the hallway. He had a strange look in his face. I walked up to him, and he advised me that the stenographer machine had malfunctioned, and there was no record of my testimony. They also forgot to plug in the backup tape recorder. I deliberately requested for a continuance, and it was denied, and the hearing proceeded on my husband's testimony only. The divorce was signed off on by a judge, and I was never notified. My testimony was not considered by the court. In my divorce, after almost a 25-year marriage, there was no distribution of assets. I am physically and totally disabled on a very limited income, and I was awarded nothing by the court. The judge in this case would not allow me to call witnesses. I filed petitions to modify my alimony and vacate the divorce because of this. The last time I did it was August 4th of 2011. I waited approximately 6 months. I called the prothonotari's office to see why I was not assigned to be heard yet. They said they had never seen this before, that it was not assigned to be heard, and they passed me through to the judge's secretary. When I advised her who I was and gave her my court case number, she advised me the judge was not going to hear my case. So this once again gave me no legal recourse. In my child custody matter, legally I had a 50-50 custody of my child with therapy ordered. Custody and therapy were not followed through by my husband. I would go months without seeing my son despite regular orders to allow visits. It took 4 years for this to get to court. By the time my son was 19, the judge threw the case out immediately, saying he was of legal age. I was provided no compensation for all the time I lost with my son. Due to my limited income, I had to hire a lesser attorney who wound up being suspended for taking money from clients. Again, I was never advised of this. While this was happening, my husband used a blind woman's stolen credit cards to pay for a higher-priced attorney, all his legal fees, and all his debts. The court actually later on ordered me to pay for my husband's legal fees. I reported the misconduct to the presidential judge to the disciplinary board, only to be advised that they cannot overturn any decisions made by the judge, and they feel, in their opinion, the judge did not do anything against what his duties called him to do. I literally filed perjury charges with the district attorney's office. I literally took one sheet of paper and outlined the perjury, and I took stapled the page of the transcript where the perjury occurred and highlighted it. After approximately 8 months passed, I called to check on the status of my case. They advised me they would look into it and get back to me. The very next day, I received a letter in the mail dismissing my case.
I saw a video in New York, these motorcycle guys. I can't wait to get it online, but it's some kind of weird format. This guy was totally assaulted. He was just standing there. He was deaf. He's in prison for several years because he's deaf. Because some bar owner claims he walked up to him and told him to move away from a door. But anyway, the film just completely proves it. And the judge claimed that what happened inside the bar had nothing to do with what happened outside, which is, of course, ridiculous. These guys, 3 people dragged this guy out, and they're beating the hell out of him, get him outside, and they're kicking on him. So a friend came to his rescue. So now they're both in prison for 2 or 3 years. And then I saw the Robert Leone. You've seen that, haven't you? It's unbelievable.
No.
Have you ever seen that?
No.
Pennsylvania State Police just beat this guy to within an inch of his life. And they pinned him in. A police guy reaches in through the window and slugs him as hard as he can. And you see the guy shaking his fist. He broke his hand. Well, Robert Leone is in prison for I don't know how many years for assault. The assault is in his face.
Oh no! Oh my gosh.
And they got up on the stand and the policeman just lied and lied. Well, they didn't lie. They told the truth. They said, yeah, we hit him and yeah.
One guy ran up on the vehicle and shot and tasered him through the sunroof. Guy sitting there in his driver's seat of his car. State police cruiser wouldn't let, pulled in so he couldn't open his car door to get out. He climbed out and tasered him through the sunroof.
It is just unbelievable. Great. So you're not the only one who they pull that to.
I know, and that's what this is all about. I know that this is not just happening to me. They wouldn't be getting away with it so easily had they not been doing it previously.
Well, let's talk about the first thing I wrote a note on was your estranged husband accosts you in the parking lot.
That's correct.
And assaults you.
Correct.
And then you got arrested for assault when he tried to open your car door and you fought back by biting him on the hand.
That's correct. I kept trying to get in my van to get away from him, even though he threw my keys. All he wanted was my dog, and I told him he could not have my dog. And he was much larger than I. He's 6 foot, 210 pounds. I, at that time, was 5'9", 97 pounds. And the more, I tried to get in the van, he'd throw me into the van. I'd be hitting the door. He'd literally pull me out of the van if I got close to getting into the van. And eventually, somehow or other, then this went on for several minutes, I literally got to in my driver's seat, and I went to shut the door, and somehow his hand was there, so I bit him. And at that time,
his hand is prohibiting the door from closing.
That's correct.
Okay.
He was not allowing me to close my door. I was trying to at least lock myself in the van, even though all I could have done was gone and gotten the keys where he threw them from, unlocked the door and gotten back into me. And then next thing you know, he took his cell phone and he's telling the police, help me, my wife is beating me up. And even on 911, they're saying, can you get away from her? He goes, no, she's beating me up, help me. But in court, he said, I was not leaving that scene until I left there with the dog. The police also would refuse to even go because my husband said he was in there doing his banking, and I came and harassed him. And I advised the police that that was not the case, and if they did not want to go in and speak to one of the tellers, whenever you do banking, you usually get a slip of paper, your receipt. I said, officer, I'll even show you my receipt. And they got very nasty with me and told me to just sit down and shut up. And I just sat in the car. They continued talking to my husband. I was smoking a cigarette, and they eventually called me out, and they said, come back here. And I said, would you like me to put my cigarette out, officer? He goes, yes, and I came out. And they said to me, we understand that you've got a lot of physical problems and that you're in a lot of pain. So if you promise to behave yourself, we'll handcuff you in the front instead of in the back. And even continued to assist me by giving me my pain medication. But they refused to allow me to seek medical assistance, which I needed.
Why do you think they took this position that your estranged husband was right and you weren't?
Because I have a mouth on me, and even if you are doing wrong, my husband would come to my house to visit my children after He was with his lover. He could only come to my house, go to her when her children were with their dad, so they didn't know about the affair. So her children would get home at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, and then he'd want to come visit our children while our children were in school. I allowed that for 2 weeks. I said, Bob, I don't want to keep you away from the kids in any way, shape, or form. I don't want the kids involved in this. He still insisted on coming over at 12, 1 in the morning, and after 2 weeks, I would not open the door. I would not unlock the door. I would not let him in. I called the police. They said there's nothing that they could do. He called the police, and here come the police. The police advised him, we'll turn. That's correct. That's absolutely correct.
You want to say that as a soundbite?
If you want to say that as a soundbite. You know, I mean, honestly, I'm a little astonished because, you know, Don and I know I do as well. You keep everybody posted on what's going on in your case, and I know you are.
Oh, absolutely. Don was keeping me posted on what was going on. Everything was found.
But you're not seeing attorneys, you're not seeing judges. They're doing this all behind closed doors. You know, what happened? You went to the federal courts because of all these other abuses that you're
absolutely
talking about. And what happened in the federal courts? They dismiss you?
They dismiss me. They throw me out. They don't want to hear it. Like I said, most of the time they have to talk to the lawyer in judges' chambers before the hearing, and you walk in the room and they said, case dismissed.
So the question, and if you can come up with a soundbite, would be, you know, at one point you went to the federal court to complain about all these abuses, and what was your experience in the federal court? Yeah,
one time I did, you know, I tried to go, multiple times gone to the federal courts and the disciplinary boards personally. And they tell me the only thing that they can do, I want to talk to somebody. I want to talk to somebody. Nope, can't do that. Got to go home and do it online. You got to go do this on paperwork. You got to mail it in. And that's very easy for them to just dismiss you. Let's go face to face. But you cannot sit face to face with these people. And I've gone in there in my wheelchair. I could barely even walk. I literally am 15 days post-op of having 4 neck surgeries in 8 days because I lost my medical benefits as of July 1st. And this surgeon never, ever did that many surgeries to anybody in that short period of time. I worked so hard. While my husband would barely work a full-time job, I never worked less than 2 jobs. I worked up to, including 5 jobs at one time. I actually got him a phenomenal job at Shipley Oil. He literally got fired, and the union would not even fight for him, and I did. I even got him rehired. He would take voluntary layoffs 6, 7 months a year. And that's when I would pick up additional jobs. I can't provide for my children. I can't provide for myself. I've provided for myself since I've been 15 years old. And August 8th, they're going to sheriff sale my home. And I had no place to go. I'm sorry. I matter. You got my votes is why you're in there. You got my votes. So when are you going to keep through with your promises? How can a judge say, I'm not going to hear your case? You have the right to represent yourself. I'm taught this, and I believe it.
Yeah, we were all taught in school that we had constitutional rights, weren't we? Have you found that we don't?
That's all I found. That's all I found. Like I said, as far as attorneys, you know, Don, even knowing how broke I was, he only made me pay basically for when he'd file something because he knew I had no money, and that man fought for me. He fought for me. And he wouldn't even take money because he knew I didn't have it. The law states in a divorce you get, I mean, did you ever hear of a 25-year marriage of having no assets except a dog? A dog, 25 years, and a dog. That's it? That's bullshit.
And you didn't even get the dog.
And no, he got it. And then he tells everybody, I trained this dog as a rehab dog. We had 3 dogs. We had a Rottweiler, we had a West Highland Terrier, and we had a Golden Retriever. And I trained the Golden Retriever to assist me when I'm in my wheelchair. He's telling everybody it was a Father's Day gift. When's Father's Day? June, right? Father's Day's June. The dog was born in July. We didn't get him till August. How the hell was it a Father's Day gift? And I knew the second time I went before Master Elliker for the alimony, I knew that I was not going to get